if you are in the market looking for a new car in the 7 to 8 lakh rupee bracket, your ideal options until now were a compact sedan or a hatchback. But then Mahindra decided to upset all those dynamics with the launch of the KUV100 compact crossover. Now we've decided to pitch it against a mid-size hatchback represented for this test by the Grand i10 and a compact sedan represented by the Ford Figo Aspire. Let's see how they all match up. When the Figo Aspire won our compact sedan shootout, we had suggested getting the titanium trim if the Titanium Plus variant with its 6 airbags and plethora of features was turning out to be too expensive. And so for this test, we got our hands on the same. All the cars we tested here were petrol powered. However, since our Aspire tester wasn't too photogenic, we decided to settle for a diesel variant purely for the purpose of this video. The Grand i10 is in its range-topping trim, meaning that it has a long feature list to hold the fully loaded K8 variant of the KUV by its horns. But we'll come to that later. Let's first begin with the engines. The KUV100 gets a 1.2-litre M Falcon engine. It's a new engine family for Mahindra. Emits that typical 3-cylinder whine, but it's adequately refined for a car of this class. The KUV petrol churns out about the same power and torque outputs as the other two vehicles, but it produces it at a much lower RPM. Add to it a shorter gearing and you have a car that is happy to potter around in the city without the need for frequent gear changes. The KUV is too shy to disclose its weight, and I can relate to that. But it is a heavy car and it shows, because 0 to 100 takes over 15 seconds, making it the slowest car of this test. With its small size, the Grand i10 is the quickest car of this test. It could have done with a better low-end Grundo for urban use. Even the clutch is the heaviest of this test, and that gets a little cumbersome in the city environment. But learn to live with it, and the Grand i10 will impress you with its engine refinement and fuel economy, both of which are the best of this test. It is a surprise how the Figo's petrol engine is a bit of a letdown compared to the gem of an engine it gets in the diesel variant. Now it is based on the old Figo's petrol engine, and the age shows. It's almost a second slower to 100 as compared to the Grand i10, and also the least fuel efficient. The low-end grunt isn't the best either, and the engine demands to be kept on the boil. But where it redeems itself is with a stronger mid-range. Pulling overtakes is no problem for this drivetrain, and it impresses with its highway manners. Complementing that is the ride and handling. It's not as stout as the previous Fiesta-based Figo, but it has an extremely good ride quality and is one of the best handlers, not just in this test, but also in the entire compact sedan category. The Grand i10 comes close with a pliant ride quality that is typical to Hyundai's hatchbacks. Its suspension isn't as supple as the Ford and tends to thud through potholes, but the stability at speed and around corners is pretty decent. If only it could do with a better steering feedback. But since we are talking body styles, most hatchbacks in this category like the Brio, the Figo or the upcoming Tiago have a fairly good ride for Indian road conditions and offer decent driving dynamics too. They almost feel more balanced than the compact sedans as well. The KUV, unsurprisingly, has the softest ride. However, the suspension performance is jittery, and it wasn't noticeable when I last drove this car on Mahindra's test track. It handles pretty well as the monocoque construction makes it more nimble than the Quanto or the TUV, but there is still a utilitarian feel to the car's dynamics. The dash-mounted gear shifter contributes to that utilitarian feel, but the quality of plastics in general is on par with Maruti's hatchbacks in this price point. Ingress and egress is pretty easy given its body style. The seats are large and generous, but we do not recommend using the front bench to seat 3 people. It's simply unsafe. At the back, a flat seat can accommodate 2 adults and a kid, but despite its size, the KUV's headroom isn't as generous as its competition. It certainly offers a more commanding view of the road though, and the cabin has a sense of airiness to it. But The cabin space has taken a toll on the boot space, which is on par with the Grand i10 on paper, but just not as usable. Hyundai trumps in this cabin department, and the Ford is rather well put together too, both being the benchmarks in their respective classes. Both the cabins are generously sized as well and feel more cosmopolitan in their approach. The Ford's rear seats are set a little low, but still not as cumbersome to get in and out of as compared to other low-riding sedans. Exterior design is a personal preference, but again, since we are talking body styles, compact sedans just don't look right to me. With their sub 4 meter length limitation, it is hard to make them look pretty, but the Aspire looks the most balanced and handsome. Grand i10 is the ideal example of how Indians like their hatchbacks, subtle yet smart and with a hint of European designs. The Swift, the Baleno, the older Figo, the classic Gets, there are plenty of examples. I would still pick one of these over a compact sedan any day. But the KUV aims to disrupt that thought with its crossover styling. It has some smart touches like the extended headlights, the LEDs, the cheerful taillights. The side profile makes it a bit iffy, and the tiny wheels make the body appear cartoonish, but the KUV isn't a polarizing design. It isn't the best looker in this comparison or in this price point, but clearly attracts plenty of positive attention. Well, as I mentioned earlier, this test is not about picking out a clear winner, but comparing how these three body styles match up. And in that sense, the KUV 100 just doesn't feel as polished or well-rounded off as the other two vehicles. But if it's a commanding driving position that you're after, you don't have any other option. But then if you're looking at a well-composed petrol hatchback, the Grand i10 is one of the better options. But in my viewpoint, the best buy is still the Ford Figo Aspire. It's about $1 lakh more than the other two, but then offers more value for money thanks to a better cabin and cargo space and best-in-class driving dynamics and ride quality. Well, that is how they all sum up, and I hope this test helps you make an informed decision.